Involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Good morning. Oh, we're pretty close to where we were yesterday, actually. I mean, we did move down overall yesterday, but yeah, we're not too far off. We're not too far off. There was a couple of big spikes higher, and then it's coming down. So what we're seeing is, let me pull up here. Oh, the chart is still loading. Let's grab the links. That would probably be the right thing. The links. New version of Brave browser looks really nice. I'm satisfied. Where's Discord? All right. Exchange volume. Okay. Something out. Do somebody in there. Copy. All right. So there's that one. Looks like charts are still. This evening one's still loading. Okay. So here you go. Yesterday they took another dip lower. But when you look at the treasuries, there was spikes on the dips, but overall treasuries moved down. So what's happening is treasuries are reacting to the more hawkish Fed and selling, and people are using treasuries as a safe haven on the really aggressive moves. But because the Federal Reserve is overall still hawkish, the treasuries are not a safe haven. And so they're not really making money off of it. And that's why we're going down. So we kind of gotta adjust the way that we trade from the E-mini, right? Because if we're expecting a really strong push down, then we can buy it. But otherwise, we kind of gonna have to ignore it, because if this is going up, this might not necessarily. I mean, this is gonna go down more, and this is gonna go up when this goes down. If that makes sense. Anyways, I have to make some adjustments here. And also with the curve, because it looks like you're still getting it looks like the spread flipped around here yesterday, so I'm not sure if we're going to continue flattening or steepening. Okay. I don't need that. Ah, yes, let's check our predicted trade here. Ah, excellent. Excellent. So I bought this market here. Let me here. Down here. Scroll bars aren't showing. Well, that's frustrating. By the way, there's lots of people on Twitch today, so thank you guys for watching. I'm Arrow. How was life? It's good. It's good. Well, I mean, I made $27, so I'm happy about this. So, anyways, I bought this when it was like 18, and it actually went like way lower. See here, at one point, it was worth like 10 cents. It actually went further than that. If I can see it here, it was like worth 10 cents at one point. So I didn't get the best price, but I was totally right. I was like, the chances of something crazy happening are still really high. Everybody thought it was over. This is the government. This is whether or not the government will shut down. Yeah. So I'm really frustrated here. Why will not new ugh. So Brave here. Brave here. Hold on a second. What the heck is going on? Turn on the squawk. I don't think there's any significant news today, right? Friday. Oh, there is.
A minute ago.
Final GDP. Yes, that would be important. That would be important to know. Anyways, when I get this over here, this window, like the scroll bars aren't showing up. See, and if I actually try and scroll, nothing happens. I have to. Why is that's so fucking weird. Ugh. Well, I might not be able to use Brave today because the scroll bars are broken. Gosh dang it! I mean, I liked the other changes they made. That's funny.
10 seconds.
Okay, let's move this out of the way.
Durable goods in coming up 0.8%, 0.8%. Ex-transport down 0.3%. Non-defense XAR down 0.6%. GDP confirmed at 3.4% for the US, 1% for sales final. PC prices, core PC prices 1.6. With GDP deflator at 1.5. Core headline PCE prices at 1.6. Canadian GDP up 0.3%. We see 0.3 for retail sales from 0.1 revised from 0.2. And ex-autos, Canadian retail sales were flat on the month versus 0.1% last time round. Fully fed non-manufacturing regional business activity index at 3.9. That's in December versus 43.3 in November. Firm level business activity index at 3 versus 42.4. Manufacturing full-time employment index came in at 9.6, down from 10.3. Manufacturing orders there at 12.7 versus 28.2.
Okay. So GDP underperformed just teeny tiny little bit. So, and we did move up, but it's not like super significant. So I don't think that I really have a trade in here off of this. So
just to recap on the data then, durable goods up 0.8% versus 1.6. last time. Ex transport down 0.3 from expected up 0.3 after revised 0.4 from 0.2. Non-defense cap ex air fell by 0.6% from expected gain of 0.2 after last month's revision to 0.5 from 0. GDP final seen at 3.4%, slightly weaker than 3.5 predicted. Sales came in at 1% versus 1.2 predicted. Consumer spending at 3.5, down from 3.6. We saw core PCE prices at 1.6, up from 1.5 predicted. PCE prices final seen at 1.6 versus 1.5. Canadian GDP then rose by 0.3% from 0.2 predicted. Sales came in up 0.3% from 0.4, and ex-autos were flat versus 0.1.
Yeah, so are you guys on Twitch new people? Do we have? If you have any questions about what you're seeing, feel free to ask. I know this probably looks very different. The liquidity in the 10-year is now below 3,000, and the GDP news does not appear to be making any kind of huge move.
Here issues a safety recall for select Ford F-150s Super Duty trucks to replace engine block heater cable. It's going to affect 174,000 vehicles.
That's a lot of vehicles. But the liquidity is now below 3,000. Like, it's actually less now than it was before the news. So I can't trade this. You take a position on that, they are liable to just, you know, run against you and stop you out just like that. Maybe in 30 minutes, 30 to 40 minutes, equities traders come in and we see something more. I'm interested to see if the equities put up a bit more of a fight, because they did have a little bit better of a close than in past days. They were buying on the close instead of selling, at least, so that's good. That's super weird that it's being like that. Over here in YouTube too. Oh, there's a scroll bar. Oh, but it doesn't work. What the heck? Please fix. Oh, I won't be able to watch all the chats all at once. Unfortunately, guys. We're gonna have to do it like this. There we go. Chrome works. I really like the Brave browser though. This one over to this. Bada boom. Okay, now I can see everything. have on my phone? Well, nothing. Okay, so we had a big move down, and there's an iceberg at 05, and now we have a little bit more liquidity. Yeah, I'll be right back. Okay. Good deal. Alright, and it looks like people are back on YouTube now. What's going on? Go. Okay, well, so they reached this iceberg, and I'm going through here. That was the price that we were kind of at on the open, so I'm not so sure I want to mess with this because I really don't know if they're going to move up or down from here. Although the E-mini is going up overall. A pretty good move up, actually. That was just like a touch of the overnight high, wasn't it? I didn't trade 75. And they didn't trade 3/4, but they came awfully close. Well, they came awfully close. Okay, so on this, the thing that frustrates me about this one was that when they thought that Donald Trump was capitulating on the shutdown, they were so sure about it, and it went all the way down to 10%. And now it really looks like, I mean, it's not going to pass the Senate. The Senate's just going to filibuster it, right? So, um, that means we're going to get a shutdown, right? I must be missing something though, because they don't seem to see that. Because we're only getting to 76, we're not getting to 90. I think it should be at 90. That this market has an end date of 12/21, but will resolve Monday. Oh yeah, what is that about? Trading freezes at noon today. Yes, because that's when it stops, right? I thought. Shut down. It's going to be really interesting to watch the blame game on this one because Donald Trump has already accepted it as his. But this one is literally going to be like The Republicans have all three branches of government. They have the votes to pass it in both chambers, but the Senate Democrats are going to filibuster it. So I'm wondering, they shut the government down and they force the Democrats to just filibuster through that. That's going to be interesting optics. I think Republicans probably still get the blame for everything, but it's going to be a little different, I think. I'm interested to see how that works. Yep. Good morning. It's going to be a quiet day. So I think we should chat, guys, because this market looks pretty shitty right now. Looks pretty bad. It looks like after the FOMC meeting that a lot of people just took the holidays. And I'm going to be taking the week off next week, of course. I'm going to take some time and try and build something in Unreal Engine. We'll see how it goes.
It's worth reminding you that we will, again, we've had the data right now, but there is more data to come at 10 o'clock Eastern time with personal consumption, personal income, core PCE data on the wires, as well as University of Michigan final reading, and Eurozone consumer confidence flash reading as well. And on top of that, we will have Feds Williams on the wires as well.
We're going to have Feds Williams.
Agreement will enter into force on Feb 1st, really a couple of days back, but will enter into force on February the 1st.
Maybe Mr. Williams will be a little bit less tone deaf than the president and the Fed president, huh? Because I kind of feel like that the Fed president is saying what he's supposed to, but he's not. Like let me give you an analogy. Say, you have a girlfriend, and your girlfriend is fat. You don't just go and say, like, honey, you're fat and we're going to start slimming things down. Like, we're going to cut down your diet and we're going to put you on the treadmill every day and be like super mean and harsh about it. Like, that's not going to work, right? She's going to not like that. And that's what's happening right now, is that the market is afraid that it's going to starve. And here you have the Fed president being like, nope, you're too fat. You can't eat any lunch today. That's what he's saying. And so the market's freaking out because they don't see it that way. They think that they're going to starve. And who's to say who is right? I tend to think that the Fed generally is right. And I do kind of feel like that this selling is a little bit overdone. But we really don't know, do we? Don't know for sure. And so if it's so uncertain, why would you talk like that? You know? It's just not the way it's supposed to. It's, you know. Well, I don't like this action that I'm seeing. Though Tao, I did see you saying ES is moving like a freight train. You're right. Although it kind of pivoted there. so like the thing that kind of irks me about this too is that you have a very low liquidity and you're not really seeing a lot of order flow signals. So we were talking about this yesterday. Like an order flow signal for me would be something like an aberration in the level 2. Some spot where there's unusual volume, where the way that it ticks up or down, that wouldn't really be an order flow signal, but a price action signal that indicates that there's something unique about that price. And you're not really seeing a whole lot of those right now. The liquidity kind of is a clue that you might not want to be in this market, but it's super, super tempting because the E-mini is moving, and it is moving treasuries a little bit, it's moving them like, 2 or 3 ticks. So, you could take a trade, and there are certain ways to trade it. It's just I don't think that my particular strategy necessarily do very well. And in fact, if this continues, unless the E-mini really starts to do something wild, you probably would want to do the opposite of my strategy. So if we see some sort of an aberration that would indicate that we maybe go higher, I might actually want to fade that. I mean, that's what I should have done yesterday. Though I did catch one or two good trades. But overall, yesterday was no good. Disappointed. And we're getting this thing again where when we move down in the E-mini, they move up a lot more in the 30-year. Read, I can't use Jigsaw in NQ or ES with these moves. Oh, yeah. Well, and when they're only putting like 50, 20 up on there. Like it moved up a lot, but it's pre-market trading. They can be a good sign though, yeah. I mean, when there's a lot of movement in the pre-market trading in the E-mini, that generally leads to good trading throughout the day. Well, it looks like I'm boring out the Twitch streamers. I don't know if because I had about not that anybody cares, but I had about 10 people, and now like I had 5 on YouTube and 5 on Twitch, and now I have about 10 on YouTube. So did the Twitch viewers get bored and we're just getting the normal people coming in, or were there a bunch of people watching on Twitch and they switched over to YouTube because they heard me talking to somebody on YouTube and like, oh, I should go over there? You don't want to hold 2 windows open to see all the chat, do you? That's dumb. I really wish, I wonder if I should check this out. Restream. They have like this super cute, it'll show you all the chats, but it didn't work. And I'm wondering if it was the browser that was not working. Chat. Open in browser. I came to Twitch from Twitch to YouTube. This is what I use to combine order flow with charts now. Not quite sure what you mean. See, it still doesn't like it. Stopped. See here? Here's the Twitch chat thing. 1 of 2 connected.
News is, Rio
doesn't like Twitch.
Interest.
Yeah. Anyways, what do you mean by this is what I use to combine order flow with charts now? Are you talking about YouTube, or are you talking about something else we're looking at on the screen? Oh, you can't see the link? No, I can't see the link. You have to put like a space between like the link and the .com. Yeah. Because it will filter out anything that's like a full clickable link. So if you like put a space in there to make it not a valid link, then it lets you post it. That's what people have been doing, or what they were doing yesterday. There's also there's somebody here. High volume typically represents a higher number of executed orders or high trading transactions. That's the order flow. Higher liquidity not necessarily has to trade and transform into high volumes. Yes. Yes, exactly, Tino. Now I can see it. Interestingly enough, the Restream chat is showing me those links before the YouTube chat is. And YouTube has not been updating correctly. Like the number of viewers that it shows me sometimes it's not correct. Okay, let's see here. There we go. Oh, you put a couple more. You put a couple more periods in there than I realized. There we go. Is that the Ninja Trader 8 chart? Yeah, that looks like the Ninja Trader 8 chart. Yeah, it's super interesting. And what are those? So I have these little like sharp triangle things here. Oh, what's going on here? Oh, need to take this out. There we go. Okay, there we go. Yeah. So is that what does that tell you? I have an indicator like that does something similar when we're like in a range. The longer that we're in the range, it does that, and then when we've broken out of it, it goes back down. But I'm guessing that that's probably more like ticks up in a row, something like that. Yeah. I mean, it's still not showing me your messages on the YouTube side. It's only showing me them on the restream side. in fact, the links that you posted, yeah, they're just not showing up. Volume on that particular swing.
Area as Novartis successfully completes its acquisition site.
So, have you found that there is a certain degree of consistency in the amount of volume on particular swings? Because I've always wondered if I should use them. Well, not always, but it was something that I was thinking about maybe looking at over the holidays. I've always had like a. Let me like pull a chart over here. So like this one right here. Okay. And then in Ninja Trader, there's like the swing indicator, I think. Yeah, swing. What is swing? Oh yeah, the swing histogram. I made that. Don't fade it when it's large. Okay, so like you get these swings and it tells you, and I'll take it a little bit to load back up because I have all of the, okay. So then it will tell me, okay, this is where the last swing was. And there's some other ones that will actually draw like a line from here to here, You'll draw a line like there to there to there, there. You know what I mean? And then it'll put a number and it'll tell you like how many ticks it went or how much volume there was. But I've always wondered, so if you do cumulative delta, is there like a consistency? Is there like okay, if I'm in a range and it's gone this much total volume, unless there's going to be a breakout there, this is the price that you want to get out at because there's not enough volume swinging around that day to, to justify any further. So I was going to investigate that, but I need to go and get a better swing indicator first. I think it was Sim's swing indicator was the one that I was using before that I really liked. Yeah, don't fade it when it's large and buy pullbacks. Oh, because it'll probably give you a good idea of whether or not that move was a pullback or something more. I gotcha. I don't look at the particular volume number, but if there's a higher high volume, should be higher than the previous swing. Yeah, that's I do that same thing, but I do that with these cumulative deltas here. Like, and it's not as reliable in the E-mini, but over here on this side, if we have a new high and I don't get a new high in cumulative delta, then I'm always a little suspicious. That's something that's either going to result in a reversal or is going to push us higher. But there's always a trade opportunity when that happens. Mm-mm-mm. So IQ is leaning short. IQ in Discord is leaning short. I mean, the thing here is that ZB just wants to buy. I don't know if we're going to continue to if the spread is going to continue going the way that it's been or not. Hmm. No, he's not actually short. He's just thinking about it, maybe. Maybe he's just thinking about it. Hmm. Yeah, I think my plan is that we're just gonna kind of have to bide our time until equities are about to open, and then so in about 30 minutes, and then maybe we might see better opportunities. The way that the DOM looks right now, though, that's shitty trading, dude. Probably not a good time to trade. There are probably people waiting for GDP and thought maybe they were going to take a trade if GDP was drastically different, but it wasn't, and so now there's no trade for them. Okay. Well, so there's a little bit.
European fuel oil output at 1.213 million barrels a day in November. It's up 3.3% from October, down 0.7% a year ago. That says your oil stocks.
Here's Swisso. How's it going? Uh, 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 uh. Trying to remember what happened yesterday was when we were talking about you in Discord. I think that you were right on the particular move that you were talking about. Oh man, and it's the Super Heart Foundation guy again. Oh man. Is he gonna say something reportable to the SEC again? Okay, what's Swisso got here? Let's look at this link. Mm. Okay, well he's pointing all of the moves up. 29. Oh wait, what is this? 2966. Is that like the Nasdaq? Oh, Euro stocks. Oh, those are the trades that are those the trades that you took? Okay. Hmm. Yeah, the so the thing that would because I
Talk
remember.
of a GOP leadership source concurring with President Trump, saying if there is to be a shutdown, it will be a long one.
Oh boy. Yeah, here comes the. Oh, we're gonna buy Bitcoin again. Is it gonna fall as he does it again? There was quite a bit of a sell there overnight, wasn't there? I actually did not. Yeah. So so what we were saying the other day, because somebody was like, why didn't you just take the trade this was?" And I was like, well, I've got to trade my strategy, right? Like if he says something that's relevant to my strategy that I didn't realize, then that's really helpful. But if it's just something that's like completely unrelated to the way that I trade, then it's not necessarily helpful. Not saying necessarily that you do, but it was just like you can't just say, somebody in chat said this and they seem to know what they're doing, so why don't you just trade off of that? Because you can't. Then what happens? They disappear and then you can't trade anymore. You know what I mean? But then the whole thing was like, well, we don't know like a whole lot about how Swizzo trades or how good he is. Now, if you went into Discord and you posted a picture of like a statement, obviously with all of the identifying information blanked out, but like like a month's worth of statements or something to see like what kind of performance that you have and to prove that you're doing it on a live account, then it kind of changes things, right? And if you do that, then you get to have one of the special statuses. Yeah. Well, I don't like what I see right now, unfortunately. Like it's really hard for me when it's like I know it's going to move, but I know that I shouldn't necessarily take a trade. You know what I mean? Liquidity is building up a little bit. Maybe a special status on the internet is less important than money. Yeah. So in the Discord we have the degenerate gambler and the elite statuses for people that are regulars and have posted statements so that we know what their performance is like. Just kind of so for the new people kind of know that if that person says something that they have some proof that there's an edge to their strategy. But it's not so much about, yeah, it's the degenerate because of Peter, right? Because he had some really good trades and he's shown us statements and everything. And he's kind of a high roller, right? Um, but everyone was like, "Oh, well, we should put you in the elite." And then he was like, "No, don't put me in the elite. I'm just a degenerate gambler." And so we made that one for him instead. And we put Zerv in it too. But I think Zerv is already on vacation, right? I think that he was coming over to the U.S. to visit family, and he disappeared like after FOMC. Yeah. Satoshi is the Bitcoin well. Okay. Something that concerns me still about the Bitcoin market, talking about whales, because I really like Bitcoin Cash. And, well, not, I should qualify that. I think that Bitcoin Cash has a lot of potential in it. Let's put it that way. I'm not necessarily a technical expert. So like when they did this Bitcoin Cash versus SV fork, I'm like, what the hell? is this technical, because it doesn't seem like there's any real reason for them to be forking off. And I just kind of looked at the way that both sides behaved to kind of determine which one was full of shit and which one wasn't. And I think that Bitcoin Cash should stick around. But I'm more like that they understand the value of a cryptocurrency. So I think that ultimately they'll go up. And so they were really, really far down. Like they were below 100. And now they're back up to like 150. So it's like you could have made like 50% this week in Bitcoin Cash.
EPFR flows data says biggest government bond flow inflows since January 2016, some $5 billion. A massive investment grade bond outflows seen at $5.5 billion.
And the so it was like, oh, maybe I should buy it. But then there's Bitmain out there, right? And a lot of people are saying that Bitmain is going to go into bankruptcy.
Bank loans of $2.9 billion, record outflows from financial stocks at $3.3 billion, says BAML report.
Too much money coming out of the market right now. So yeah, you could have made 50%, but then it's like, yeah, but what happens if Bitmain goes bankrupt and they have to sell all of their coins? Then it's going to go a lot lower. And you're still kind of, I don't think we've reached the bottom in the crypto market, right? So this thing right here, this little dip that we had this morning down to 3,500, I think kind of shows you how dangerous buying this market is. So you're going to get up to 4,500. People are going to take profits and shorts are going to pile on. The girl at the 7-Eleven asked me what I do for a living, and I told her I'm a degenerate gambler. She said, why don't you buy lottery tickets? And I said, trading futures is less risky. I mean, look, if it's like the Powerball, like with that record Powerball, did that ever get somebody did win it, right? I remember that there was it was like a record pot, but then I didn't hear what happened. But I assume there must have been a winner since I didn't, because otherwise I would have heard about people trying to buy tickets for the next week too. But if it's a Powerball and like it's really high, and the tickets are like what, $20 or something like that? Yeah. There is a certain point at which the risk reward is still kind of worth it as long as you're not like consistently dumping money into it. But I think once a year there's a record Powerball thing, you know. I'm not gonna say it's dumb to buy it. I don't go and do it, but there's nowhere to buy it in my state anyways. So hey there, did you pass a combine and get funded? No. So here's my story for this week. I would win more trades than I would lotto tickets. Yeah, right. So I had trouble passing the combine, and I started to do a little bit of math based on because I had a couple of combines where I really did it wrong. I'm not sure if I traded. I'm not sure if I'm going to trade today either. Like as long as we're below 4,000, maybe I maybe 4,500. Like as long as we're below 4,500 in liquidity in ZN, I'm just like hands off. Is my take right now. But I want to see what the E-mini does. I mean, they're buying it pre-market. It's kind of been this thing. Oh my gosh, I have too many thoughts. You guys are totally triggering my ADHD. This is more important, so let me tell you about this. So I was back testing a strategy the other day with John, and I'm not going to go into what the strategy was, but it's a pretty simple strategy, and it's something that's really common that people do. And it's like the sort of thing that will take like one trade a day. And when you look at the beginning of the year, the period of time that I did well, so I did really well like the beginning of the year, and I decided to go live because of that, and then I started doing poorly, so I pulled back, and now I'm kind of back to the point where I feel like maybe I could go live, but I don't have the money right now, so that's where I'm going. Oh, I failed my combine in 2 days because they didn't factor commission into profit loss, and I failed by $2. Oh, that's so fucking stupid. Oh my gosh, Mario. And that was the Top Step one. Yeah, I so the thing that's really frustrating about it is that really you got to keep yourself like way far away from that limit. And but they really encourage you to take on a lot of risk, and it's just not. Yeah, so I stopped trying to do the combine and just started saving up because I realized that even if I was trading well, or not well, but like standard, because I had some where if like because I reset it at a certain time or whatever the deal was, I didn't actually make the combine. So like there was one where like I failed the combine, but then I kept trading it for that month and I did really well. And then when I started the next one on the next month, I made enough, and but you know it was split between the two, so it didn't count. Yeah, so I was like it'd take me 3 months, and then they make you trade another 3 months before they actually give you an account. And I was like, well, if I just save the money that I'm spending on the combine every month, I would be able to just open up an account and trade that way. And so that's what I did. So this is my live account, but I'm still trading it on Sim because I paid somebody to do my yard, and they didn't do it. And so now I'm unsure if I'm going to have to dump more money into it or if I'm going to get my money back from this guy or what the deal is. And so it may, unless I get lucky on something, I'm probably unlikely to be able to trade my live account for a little bit, unfortunately. So, but anyways, I was back testing this strategy, and during the period of time that I was doing well, this strategy did really well. And then during the time period that I didn't do so well, particularly this summer, it didn't do very well. Okay, that makes sense. That's totally like what you should, what you would expect. But then it was like it was doing well, and then there was a period of time, and it was really when the market really started selling, it just flat out stopped working completely. Completely stopped working. And it was really weird because it looked like it was a really solid edge, but it was just like there are periods of the year where it's like it worked really well and then it didn't. And I've kind of been noticing, because it was kind of based on time and taking a fade trade at a certain time based on movements and stuff like that, right? And I've noticed you get this thing, like how many times have I said this week, if you watch the volume on the open, it looks like they're buying on the open. Like you get a bunch of bubbles and they move up, and then it's like the buyers fail and it goes down. It's always like it makes it look like the buyers are maybe finally going to buy, and then the shorts come out and just absolutely crush them every time. And I think originally I thought, especially when we were way back, I was like, well, somebody wants it to go down. And I think maybe at the time that was true, but now it kind of looks to me like any time that there's a buy, that people go, this is my chance to get out, and they do. And I would recommend Earn to Trade if you ever try the combine again, because you can hold overnight through news. Yeah, that's a good point. I think Earn to Trade was like came out like just before I decided to just start saving up. You know, the problem with the combines, at least for me, is that in order to make their targets, I have to take on too much risk, and there's way too likely for me to, hit the daily risk limits trading that. Like I would have to trade 4 contracts on CN, probably. Like just think about this month, okay? Like to do it in a month, okay? I did pretty good for me. I made 16 ticks, so I made 250, right? So if I traded 4 contracts, then I would have made $1,000, and the profit target is like $3,000. So, and I could have done a lot better. Maybe I could get 500, and then maybe I could get to $2,000 in a month, if I traded 4 contracts. But then if you trade 4 contracts, what is the chance that you hit the $500 loss limit in a day? Is like it can happen, right? It only takes 8 ticks at that point. So, and 8 ticks is about when I will stop. So that's kind of why I was like, if you're trading oil, then I think that the combine is much more likely possibility. You know what I mean? So I feel like that they need to their targets need to be different. It shouldn't be your target shouldn't necessarily be a set dollar amount. It should be based on the amount of risk that you're taking on, you know? It should be based on reaching a certain Sharpe ratio, really. If you're familiar with those, but and then there's those other guys. So earn to trade is a little bit better, and the nice thing about earn to trade too is that if you get funded, you're funded right then and there. Whereas with Top Step Trader, it's kind of like, you have to do it again. And then even after you've done it again, we'll give you an account and we'll pay you money based on if you make money in that account or not. But you still have to but it's still sim, and we won't give you a live account until a certain amount of time, and this and that. They're super stingy about it. Earn to trade, they're just like, okay, you pass the combine, we give you the money. And then there's the other guys. I forget what their name is. Trade to win, was that who they were? I think. And they're like, you can set up your risk parameters, but they still have the same profit targets. Oh, maybe it's earn to trade is the ones that you can set your parameters. And One Up Trader doesn't have a second combine. Yeah, that's right. One Up Trader doesn't have a second combine. So which one was then trade to win was something else? I don't know. Or is there 4 of them? Anyways, it's still go back and look. Here's the way that I think about it. Why I think that this shit sounds like a nightmare. Yeah, the combines are, I don't know. Listen, if you've never done a combine before and you're a new trader, then I would recommend doing it. But, it's not something that I would do month after month every year. And, so I tried for a long time, didn't I? I came close a few times too. But you got to think of it as like, okay, hedge funds. Like a hedge fund can make 20% in a year, right? If they're using like an instrument specific strategy and high frequency trading and stuff, they can make 30 to 40% per year. And when you look at the profit target that they're using in the combine, and let's assume that you're just doing it in a month or 2 months, you're talking about making 50% of your money or more on a combine, right? So they're asking performance from you that is better than the top firms out there make, right? Yeah, combines are a good way to have skin in the game if you don't have 10K to put into an account, and a good way to get you disciplined. I mean, the cheapest way. Yeah. I mean, I think that there's some value to, um, doing the combine and like tracking your performance and everything like that. I feel like you can kind of get that just by trading it. Like the thing that one of the things that I kind of disagree with people on is they say that you're going to make different decisions when the risk is on. And that is true. And I did see that when I traded my account that it was different. But at the same time, it wasn't like I cared more about whether I won or lost. And it was really, when I took the trades that I did, it was really more habit than anything. A lot of my trading is habit. It's just like when I see that certain signal that I've taken and won off of so many times before, I can't help it, man. Even if it's shitty action. Like, this is exactly what happened yesterday. It was like shitty action, and I was like, okay, well, now maybe we're in a spot that I can maybe take a trade. And I take it, and I'm like, it's working, and it's good, and I want to hold it. And that's just my habit, is I want to hold things. Because that's when you get the good runners, you know? And it was only, well, and I at least want to get like 3 or 4. But this one was worth 2, maybe 3. And and then I didn't take it off. And then it's like at that point, it's like, well, I've taken a trade. So then I don't consider, hey, maybe it's not good action anymore. So I still take a trade, and then I lost 2 off, so I had -4 yesterday. It's just like habit. And Combine can get you into good habits.
Right, we're just under 10 minutes away now.
But it can also get you into bad habits.
We'll post up the closing times and the half days for Monday. But I expect obviously thinned holiday trading session today. We are looking at a positive start to the session. E-mini is up some $5 this session, despite the data which soggy at best for durables and even the revised GDP.
You're better off.
Some of the buoyant shares in there, Nike, were up about 9% in pre-market after their quarterly results last night. Better than expected.
Does CME Group offer a simulator account now?
Performances overnight, and all that detail is up on and up on the website on the whiteboard right now for you.
What's SureTrader? I haven't heard of that. Let me look that up. No cost trading with a leading online stockbroker. This website is not intended to solicit U.S. residents. Yeah, the way that I did it, and I'll have to look at that a little bit more later. But the recommendation that I've been making to people is to just get $500 together and get an account at AMP and trade that sim, and use the Jigsaw simulator, because the Jigsaw simulator is so much better than the other simulators. I bet you, maybe I should do it. I bet you that I could pass the combine by cheating the sim. It would be hard, but I think it's possible. Because what happens is, oh my gosh, my cell phone is giving me interference. What happens, the way that their simulator works is, if I sold here at 005 or whatever, then it would say, okay, he's 600 in line, and in order for him to get filled, there needs to be more than 600 buy into this price for him to get filled, right? But what happens is, if I get in here at like 121,000 and I'm at I'm at the back of the line 3,600, and then it goes up 2 ticks and it comes back down, even though nothing has really traded here and I'm probably still at the back of the line, their sim thinks that you're first of the line. And so they
Trump invited Senate Republicans for
you can cheat it.
Meeting, says the Washington Post.
There was many times when I was trading that sim where it was like, yeah, normally you wouldn't get filled there, but I got filled, and I'm just gonna take it. And then, I would cheat it and buy it back a little bit lower, or whatever the deal was. You can totally cheat their sim. Jigsaw simulator, you can't do that, because Jigsaw simulator, and it's like, if they move away and they come back, that's when they think that you're there. And the other thing that will happen is, their simulators assume that everything that pulls off is in front of you, which is just not true, because it's probably like the same 5 lot being taken on and off, which is stupid. Whereas Jigsaw, it only assumes that like a quarter of it is in front of you, if that. So it's much, much, much more accurate. I wonder why they're not allowed to advertise to U.S. residents, but they have futures and everything. And what data do they have and stuff? Right now, your risk is limited to 150 a month with a combine. Yeah, that's funny. But you're right. It's just like they want you to be like some of the best traders in the world to get funded. And the truth of the matter is that if you feel the need to do a combine to get money to trade, then you're probably not one of the best traders in the world. And so if you do pass the combine, chances are that you got lucky, right? That's really what the combine is about, folks. Get lucky twice, trading oil, and then button down the hatches and trade, conservative to keep the account as long as you can. That's what it's about. That's what you got to do over there. So I think the way that you'd have to trade to meet those targets in a reasonable time to make paying the combine fee worth it, I think you'd have to trade super aggressive and hope you get lucky, you know?
Obviously, futures were in positive territory. We've now given all that back, and we continue to find lower levels here at the moment now. Again, this Washington Post piece that Trump invited Senate Republicans for a 10:30 meeting. Doesn't bode well, but we are seeing some heavy selling coming through in futures, again on limited volume.
So this is just, like we were talking about earlier. It was like there was some buying in the pre-market and now they're selling it. Oh, wait. But we haven't opened yet. It's 2 minutes before the open. And the market is going down because Donald Trump has called a meeting with the Senate Republicans? Well, that's interesting that would cause them to sell because, I mean, does it really change the chances that we'll have a shutdown? I don't think it does. If anything, maybe they come up with a strategy to get something passed.
Going into the cash open in about a minute's time.
I don't know. Let's see if InTrade has moved. Okay. Here's my refresh it.
Just a reminder that earlier today, President Trump on a tweet asked
There's
Mitch McConnell
75
to
now.
use the nuclear option and get it done. Our country's counting. That nuclear option was basically to get rid of this filibuster rule in the US.
Filibuster. I wonder what I mean, I know that's a regional accent, but maybe that actually is the right way to say it or something. And Americans just have never said it the right way or something. I always wonder that when I hear weird words that English say. See, I'm sitting here thinking, let's look at the 24-hour. At one point, it was 76. I don't know. Nuking the filibuster is a tough sell. So, there's 51 Republicans in Congress right now, right? And Collins probably wouldn't go for it.
Okay, now the other wire's picking up on this that Trump's set to meet Republicans at 10:30 a.m. That's 15:30 GMT over government shutdown. That's a Washington Post reporter on Twitter.
And then I don't know if Lindsey Graham would be on board with a filibuster either. McCain definitely wouldn't have been. Man, I don't know. This to me.
Right, just a small explainer here. You got Chad Pergram here. Just says process. If McConnell wanted to use the nuclear option to alter Senate precedent and establish a new norm of simple majority to end a legislative filibuster for border wall, the Senate must be in a very particular parliamentary posture. Senate is nowhere near that status now.
Yeah. Oh, well, so this is another good point. A lot of senators have left and probably aren't going to come back. And so you're probably not going to get enough people to pass that. You would be too close. If you use NinjaTrader, you can trick Jigsaw too, no matter what you use. Look at Options Simulator and Force Fills. It has nothing to do with the Jigsaw Simulator. Um, well, I know that the Jigsaw Simulator isn't 100% accurate. I just know that it's a heck of a lot better than the other ones. Like, I know if I get on there and I get in and there's 3,300 on there, you know, in order for Jigsaw to fill me, usually 3,300 have to trade. Unless there's like a pull or something like that. And generally speaking, like if it comes back or whatever the deal is, I'm always still at the back of the line. Not uncommon for me to go in there and be like, oh, okay, it says I'm 1,500 in line. And then when we tick up, 1,500 pull out, and I'm actually am at the back of the line. And then you know that all of the orders that were put there on top of you were fake to begin with. So that's why I say that the Jigsaw simulator, obviously there's going to be little edge cases because you can't know for sure how many are before you or behind you. The exchanges don't give you enough information to really determine that. But it's pretty accurate. I'd say it's probably 95% of the time if you get filled in the Jigsaw simulator, you're going to get filled in real life. Whereas with the other simulators, there's a scenario that I just described, which is when it ticks away more than one. It's like it stops keeping track of the queue if it ticks away from you more than one. So if you can engineer those situations where you know that it's actually going to tick up to and then it's going to come back here, but it might not actually be able to trade through here, which you can totally do, then you could cheat the simulator hardcore, I think. Mm-mm-mm. So, anyways, I think this particular piece of news so far, in my mind, doesn't change much. And I think that the E-mini is overreacting. But the problem is that the E-mini just wants to sell anyways, right? So I'm not so sure that it would be smart to just straight up buy it. Now, crazily enough, the cumulative delta is long in the E-mini, despite that huge move down. Hmm. Oh, I don't know what to think about that. This might be a good buy location. Well, I think you would want it to get it below this other pivot here. Probably want it below 2473. Maybe. I'm not a mini trader. Don't listen to me. That's an order type. Uh, okay. Well, anyways, I still say that the Jigsaw simulator is pretty accurate, and it's definitely the most accurate that's available. Hmm. Well, this was the kind of crazy that I thought, maybe would give us a trade. Not so sure I want to short O2 though. That's kind of what I'm thinking about though. I am getting close to getting a zipper signal. I don't want to see another
Trump will meet with Senate
rush
Republicans
down.
at 15:30 GMT to discuss government funding, according to the White House spokeswoman.
Who's going to tell them to nuke the filibuster? I don't know if they have the people to do it or not, but they might be able to do it. But my thought right now is that they probably don't have enough people in town to do it. Oh man, look at that. Crazy. This situation concerns me because you have a very significant imbalance in the e-mini right now based on news that from my understanding of politics doesn't necessarily tell us anything. There's a lot to calculate in there on people and stuff. But Donald Trump wouldn't be calling a meeting with the Senate Republicans if they weren't going to try and get something passed. So I'm sitting here thinking, well, I have this order, this thing open. Do I need to, you know? Okay. So you're still getting. I think that I should just, yeah, okay. Might as well. Let's see if they fill me. Okay. Because I feel like that the risk here is not in my favor. I I might be able to get out here and then get back in lower. Now, is this a buy in the E-mini? This is going to be interesting, folks. They made it 50% of the way back. I tell you what, if they get up there, I mean, I'm not saying that I think that they will, but if they're able to get above that high, this is gonna blow up. It would be so positive. Like, I think you could just put like a stop buy at 24.93 there. That's what I'm thinking. Let's just put that to see. Don't listen to me. I don't trade the E-mini. I don't know what I'm doing. But this might be it. There might be a really good buy opportunity here if all of these shorts get stopped out.
seeing Trump tweet saying there's never been a president who's been tougher but fair on China or Russia, never, just facts.
Hmm. Okay. E-mini jump to 2482. This might have legs, man. I mean, this thing's gonna have fuel. It's gonna have so much fuel if they keep pushing. There's gonna be so much volume short down there that's underwater. The treasuries aren't exactly. I'm thinking about selling 025, but but there's still just not a lot of liquidity, and it's not telling me anything that I'm for sure know would push us down, except for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I mean, it says that you should sell it. I don't know. Like, if I can sell that, I would maybe take it. Hmm. So there's an iceberg at 20, and there's an iceberg in the 5 year, 29 half. Might be a situation where that particular edge is not predictive. It just says you take it at 20 though. Still looks really positive in E-minis, doesn't it? Good little run there. Not a ton of volume though. Kind of looks like liquidity is still low over there too. You should normally have more than that in E-minis, right? Normally you have like 100. Or at least 50 on the inside. Notice that there's a lot more absorption on the bids. But we did tick up there. So there's one. And the cumulative delta has come all the way back down. Oof. Yes.
Just a heads up then, it's under 10 minutes time, we'll get back to a bit of US data released. Starting with personal income for November month on month, looking for a reading of spot 3% against a prior read of spot 5%, the range between spot 2 and spot 4%. We'll then move on to personal spending in November, where we're looking for a read of spot 3% against a prior of spot 6, with a range between spot 2 and spot 7.
Well, it almost went in my way, didn't it? But yeah.
Just keeping an eye as we just saw Trump.
It's like a 60% chance.
Data rundown. PCE core month on month for November, looking for reading of spot 2% against a prior read of spot 1, with the range between a flat read and spot 2%. Year on year for November, looking for a print of 1.9% against a prior of 1.8, with a narrow range between 1.8 and 1.9. Then move on to the PCE deflator month on month for November, where we're looking for flat reading against a prior of spot 2%. Year on year, look for reading 1.8% against a prior of 2%. Same time, we'll also get the release of the University of Michigan sentiment reading for December. Final read looking for a print of 97.5. For conditions for December, looking for a read of 115.2. Again, a final reading, and expectations looking for a final reading of 86.1. Also get the University of Michigan 1-year and 5-year inflation readings there. Again, they're final, as well as getting the Eurozone consumer confidence prints for December. It's a flash read where we're looking for a print of -4.3 against a prior of -3.9, with a range between -5.6 and -3.1.
So interesting that they're now trading into 0 and 5 again.
in terms of the ordering for the data. We'll do income first, then spending. You see core month year on year later, month on month, year on year. To Michigan sentiment conditions, expectation numbers, and move on to consumer confidence.
Hmm. It's not looking quite so. I mean, the situation in the E-mini changed very quickly, didn't it? Because I saw that Delta buying about 5,000 contracts buying, even though we came down, and on the pullback, they all sold and got out. Hmm. Oh, good morning, East Trades. You work with solid stop. That's forbidden for us. What do you mean? Oh, somebody's. What do we got here in which stonks? I don't know what that means. I'm doing okay. I just had a loser, but that was like one of my most solid trades. So for that one to not work out, it's okay. They did trade enough there to stop me out, even though it's come back down. But I don't know if there's going to be any good trading after this. Oh, just got on Christmas vacation, so schedule is off. Yeah, my kids have the day off today, but my work is doing like a. I think we're seeing Aquaman. So I have to go in today. But on Monday, I'm gonna work from home because we don't get Monday off. Can you believe that? And then the rest of the week, I'm still trying to decide. Because I mean, I can take the days off, but I don't have to. But I'm probably not going to stream next week. I mean, there's no point. There's not going to be any trades. Well, I mean, there might be trades. The market might continue to be super volatile, but that's not action I trade. So, there's always another trade in the future. Yeah. I'm planning on using that time in the morning to do a bit of programming. Yeah, I'm tempted. The thing that I'm seeing here. So I have a trade that has to do with how long we've been stuck in a 3-tick range. So it didn't work out that time. They kind of busted out through the top of it. But what I'm seeing right now still in the E-mini is that it appears this thing appears to be overdone. And it does look like so the trade was from 20 to 05, so it does look like they might go out down and get it.
Just a heads up then, just under 3 minutes time till the data. Quick recap on the estimates. Personal income looking for reading of spot 3%. Spending look for reading of also spot 3%. Core PCE month on month looking for reading of spot 2%. Year on year look for reading of spot 9% for the data. Month on month look for a flat read. Year on year looking for a print of 1 spot 8%. For the University of Michigan final sentiment read December, looking there for a read of 97.5. Conditions look for print of 115.2, and expectations looking for a reading of 86.1. Eurozone consumer confidence flash read for December looking -4.3.
So you're just never allowed to have a stop order and get out? I mean, you have to have some sort of like protective stop at the very least. But I did it that way because I know the statistics on it very specifically about which price it shouldn't get above and everything like that. So that's why I was willing to move my protective stop down to a price that could potentially get hit. Because the bet is that it won't get above 0.25 and it will go down to 0.005. In fact, I think it's still a good bet if you could get filled at 0.2. I don't think it's gonna happen. What I see in the E-mini right now is a potential, I don't want to say likely, but it's a potential double bottom signal.
One minute.
So you see there, there was actually more selling on that leg down, that second leg down, but they weren't able to get lower price out of it. Can't sell it here though. So this is the open price. It went back up to 20, then I could have sold it there, but not here. And it is still really low liquidity. At least really low liquidity above us. So it's like, if it's not a double bottom and the E-mini breaks down through the bottom, then this could just blow up off the top in the treasuries.
Income spot 2%, spending spot 4%, prior revised spot 8%, PCE month on month spot 1%, year on year 1.9%, deflator month on month spot 1%, year on year 1.8%, sentiment 98.3, conditions 116 spot 1, expectations 87, Eurozone consumer confidence -6.2.
But the flow is still short, and a 2-tick stop loss does not make any sense at that point.
The prior revised upward to spot 6%.
So let me explain the trade again. The trade is when you get a zipper like this, and it's a certain length.
And the University of Michigan 1-year inflation final read for December 2.7%, unchanged on the prior. 5-year inflation expectations in at 2.5%, slightly higher than the prior of 2.4%.
You can go short from the middle here with a 2-tick stop loss, and there's an 80% chance that you'll make 2 ticks, and there's a 60% chance that you'll make 3 ticks. That's a trade. So that's why I put the stop there. I'm okay with it because I know that back tested that there's the chances to do it. And if I had really thought that it was really likely to go up to that 0.3, then that's when I would have said, well, maybe there's something that contradicts that signal. But I didn't see it. I didn't think that they were gonna trade out over 0.25. I thought that there would be an iceberg there or something like that. Is usually what it tends to be. So it didn't work. It's okay. You know, I can't backtest every possible little thing, and it's a super tiny edge. Like, it really literally is only good for 3 ticks. But I mean, it has really good probability. You got good probability and good risk reward. Well, 1.5 risk reward, right? How do I feel about QFIN? I don't know what that is. I only trade treasuries. At a stock of some sort. How can you backtest order? Well, it's not an order flow signal though. It's a price action signal. So and to be honest, it doesn't in a situation like that, it doesn't really matter what the order flow is. I mean, the thing is, the reason you get a location like that is because there really isn't a clear direction in the order flow. It's kind of an area where somebody's either distributing or the market finds balance and it sits there forever and nobody's really that interested in making it. Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Yeah, sorry, OBS crashed. So that's weird. Really weird. Y'all still there? Yeah, we still got 12 over here. Stream resumed. Super weird. Yeah, it looks like it still counts it as a the same stream. So good deal. Good deal. I don't know. I find it interesting though that Swisso thinks that, or thought that the order flow in that location was clearly down. Because he's not wrong, but it's just kind of like, at least in the 10-year, you know, when you just look at market orders, it's a little meh, it's a little fuzzy, you know. When you look at the 5-year, 5 years sold that motherfucker. Okay, well, this in the E-mini is not behaving like a double bottom. Maybe it'll still go up, but I don't think you could call it a double bottom anymore. They may just go for it.
Fed's Williams saying the economy is strong. This is Williams speaking on a CNBC interview.
Okay. Well, if Williams is speaking now, then anything that we see is
Williams
really
saying they're
irrelevant.
listening to markets very carefully.
Oh, good. Good.
Williams saying we are hearing market concerns about the risks to the economy. Williams 2018 votes and known to be more on the centrist side of things.
Interesting.
Williams, we're moving to a more data-dependent mode.
Oh my. Well, our opportunity over here in Treasuries is already passed now.
Trump saying the Democrats now own the shutdown.
Oh.
Williams
He
expects a healthy economy.
he doesn't want it anymore, huh?
Williams saying data dependence also means listening to markets.
Data dependence also. I like that.
There are some risks to the outcome.
Mm-hmm. I like that. I like that. Keep talking to me, baby. Yeah. That's what ES is saying right now. Like, yeah. And like maybe, if things don't go so well, we can maybe have a little bit more pork. Yeah? Did go lower there. Did go lower there. It went lower there and treasuries came down. Hmm.
Williams, we have about 3% growth this year. Jobless rate is low.
Offers pulling a little bit.
Williams saying we'll be ready to reassess and reevaluate our views.
Okay, so there does appear to be a hard line down here at like 24.72 where they are absorbing and buying. So now it's going to be 80 right here. Okay. Well, now that trade would have worked out.
Sure what will happen in 20. Williams saying further hikes are not a commitment or a promise. Williams saying further hikes are not a commitment or a promise.
I'd have to say my trade was still good, but it was just kind of a little bit on the edge, and it kind of depends on how you have your stop set. If I had had my stop set to be like 500 volume, then it would have been different. Okay. So I don't trade the E-mini, but if I did, I would have gotten long at 24.80. And the liquidity is enough. I can think about, and we're in the spot I could think about potential continuations.
That outlook may change. Williams saying the use of judges specifically policy statement suggests that we're more open to adjustments to our policy path.
So Mr. Powell, why didn't you say these things on Wednesday? Are you watching this, Mr. Powell? This is how you do it. See, he's not contradicting you at all or anything like that. He's just saying what you should have said. You gotta sweet talk the market. Right? Tell it the things that that are true. Of course, don't lie to it, but tell it what it wants to hear. And the part that it doesn't want to hear, that things are actually looking pretty good right now, like just you don't need to tell them that. They'll figure that out on their own. I should trade the E-mini. I don't know, man. Anytime that I try to do it, I fuck it up.
Williams saying concerned about global growth, China contributing to markets volatility. We are seeing future slightly on the back of these comments from Williams saying that it is listening to markets. Policy path is not set really.
That's super positive. Okay. Buy that motherfucker, yes.
Williams saying plan to stay on
Oh,
path as Swedish
man.
economy stays strong.
Oh, man. Oh, baby.
Williams expects to continue trimming the balance sheet, assuming the economy remains on the expected path.
Build up a position and get everything away going long. I don't like the profit taking I'm seeing there. Oh, he went short, yeah. He went short in the Treasuries way up at 2. So he's saying that you got the move that you wanted and you're taking it out.
Williams saying
Well,
not reconsider a balance sheet unwind at this point. Williams, interest rates are primary policy tool. Could reconsider a balance sheet plan if there is material deterioration.
okay. I mean, it's telling me that there might be more in this, and we're very much on the edge. So I am kind of making a breakout play, but with the way that the E-mini is moving, it could totally happen. It's just a question of if they get over this 31, because there was a lot of profit
Bit of a repeat,
taking
Williams,
there.
no decision yet to change balance sheet normalization plan, but we'll have eyes wide open in the new year.
I still want to know what it was that's why does Swisso think that was the flow was short there. Stacking and pulling was buying. The book looked like mostly buying. Cumulative delta
Saying he expects inflation to be around 2%.
mostly flat. Mostly flat. That was her spout. You're just out, yeah. Totally. Well, I mean, look, it was a good spot, right? There's 3,500 there.
Also expects economic growth to slow a bit next year.
Mm. I'm just seeing way too much absorption at 31. So it's kind of, to me, it's like, I think the probability that it breaks is decreasing, but my risk reward is really good too. But I can't.
Williams saying 2 hikes make sense in the context of a strong economy.
This isn't something that I would want to hold on to too tightly if it starts going bad. Still not holding an offer
Williams
there at
saying Fed to
31.
adjust its views based on data and the outlook.
Okay, that's a lot better. Good job. I mean, I said 2580, right? So now where do I take it off in the E-mini? Good grief. I didn't even think about it that far. I think I have to take it off at 2517. Yesterday's high, maybe. Yeah, yesterday's high.
Expecting quite strong job growth in 2019.
Block sell.
Ooh. Okay, I take it off at 05. So I made 25.
Repeat, Williams, we are very attuned to the downside risks. Williams expects above trend US growth and solid wage gains in 19.
Nope. Man, that's just nutso action over there in the
Williams
E-mini.
saying the fundamental difference between the Feds and the markets may be around emphasizing downside risks, not about who's right or wrong.
Okay. Is this not like exactly when on Wednesday I was saying is like there needs to be some acknowledgement of the other side of the argument, right? And that is the best way that you could do it. Is he says it's not about who's right or wrong. It's just maybe my thing emphasizes this thing, and your view emphasizes this thing a little bit more. And we understand that, and we're going to continue to monitor things. And if it really does fall apart, we'll adjust, right? I feel like that the Fed is doing the right thing. I think that they're just really poor at communicating it right now. That, and I don't think forward guidance is a good thing. I mean, I saw some positives in it now, but after seeing this whole deal this time around, I don't think that the forward guidance is a good thing. Like the dot plot and all that stuff, I think they should just get rid of it. Mm.
Williams hearing concerns about what tariffs mean economy.
Okay, well, there was definitely, that was definitely a buy spike that is coming off now. I'm not so sure if I'm going to get...
Williams saying not yet seeing direct effects of higher US tariffs, but concerns still do.
So this, I think that we've learned something important here that I really hope... Okay, oof. So I put that original order in there at 30.5 because I saw the block sell there and then it ticked up immediately. And I don't like it when it does that because I know that they fight them, but when it fights it that quickly, it's not good.
The Fed's policy decision.
And very often as of late, it's been reversing at those spots. So that didn't get filled, and I guess I'm glad to have just gotten the one. It's okay. Of course, it would have been better if I had been able to... Well, on that original trade, if I had been able to get shorted out to 5, that would have been even better too. But it kind of sucks that one just stopped out. But that's just the way that it works sometimes. With that trade, at least. it was more of an order flow trade, then maybe I wouldn't have gotten out. But I do see the delta is coming off, right? Buyers just took their profits there. $5 So isn't that's $500, right?
FOMC did have a good discussion that.
I don't know. So to the comment earlier, like, oh, you should trade the E-mini. I feel like I could maybe do okay in the E-mini, but I think I would need to focus on just that. Like, I would probably want to change my thing around and maybe even get rid of some of these and have all of the index futures up here on the top instead. And only trade the E-mini and use Treasuries, of course, as a guide, but only trade the E-mini. And the problem is that ZN is just much better matched to my risk. You know?
Williams believes the Fed has adjusted its path on the.
Mm-hmm. So anyways, I think that we've learned something really important, and I hope that they take this into consideration next time that we're going to, get a new Fed president. And that is that the Fed president is actually a politician of sorts. And he needs to be good.
Williams, we now at bottom range of estimates of neutral rate.
Because of this press conference, he has to be good at answering the questions and saying the thing that
policy views at the meeting this week, including its term paths for rates.
That is the best for market stability. Because what he did.
Ultimately, Williams saying we want a strong economy and expansion to continue.
I feel like that the current Fed president is like this egghead that just doesn't understand how the market is going to react to what he says. You know?
Williams now ends remark CNBC.
So what about you, Ace? Where did you take it, and did you get out? Did you trade that, or were you just saying that it was going to go to 24.92 at some point? Or was that your target? What price was this? I think that they might come back to 24.90, and then that might be a buy location. Hmm. 5 years still kind of wants to sell it. Yeah, I guess I wonder, so going back to talking about when Suso was saying, you should have stayed in there because the flow was short. Or was he saying the flow is short just because of the 5 year? Because in the 5 year it was short. And somebody took a big short up there. You see
Energy
that?
news: Mexico's top oil port said to be shut on weather.
Now, the counter argument to this, of course, is that he got lucky, right? He didn't know what the Fed's Williams was going to say. He could have come out and said the same thing that the Fed president said and really pissed the market off even more. And then we might have moved up higher and it would have been like really super aggressive, right? And I was, okay, they are turning around a little bit. It's interesting, this curve in the 30-year. And they stopped right there. Okay. They didn't even quite get to 90 yet, though. Luck is always part of it, but the flow in the book was clearly short. Did you see the flow in the book clearly short in the 10-year, though? Because if you did, I really want to know what were the signs to you that it was short. Because to me, it looked like it was going nowhere. And that there was no clear direction in the 10-year. At least not until after it stopped me out. It was kind of the same thing here. In the 10-year, I'm not seeing a huge bias, pressure, or whatever you want to call it, in the order flow short. But I do see it a little bit in the 5-year. And since the 5-year is the one that's leading us down, I can kind of just rely on that. See, they don't really want to sell through 31 for whatever reason. And even though they are buying in the third, in the E-mini, it's not really taken off yet. For it to stop there, though, I think is significant.
Apparently, more Pentagon resignations are expected in the wake of Secretary Mattis's, according to a Fox report.
Hmm. Okay, so they're buying it at 31.5, a little bit too much. I thought you could read the flow. To explain that, I need at least 1 week or more to read the flow, and to understand that is another story. I don't know. I mean, obviously there's lots of different things, but it sounds to me like you see something that I don't, that I'm not paying attention to or seeing. Because I look at it and I'm like, oh, looks like the number of people buying it right now are pretty equal to the number of people that are selling it, and there's no real way for me to determine if in the future that's going to change. Other than that, we're at the highs, and so maybe there's the possibility that there's the buyers have had their day and they're going to get out. You know, it's just like right here. I mean, I'm seeing a decent number of people's market selling into it, right? But that's not going bid. Or sorry, it's not going offer. You know? How do you know which one is bigger? I know that right now there's more buyers here. I know that much. But, you know, this could move up 8 ticks and then it wouldn't even matter. This feels like this has been a long time, but it's only been 5 minutes. Okay, so there's to the 90. No significant reaction to it yet. What has happened to 31.5? Well, from me watching it, it seems that there's been about 1,500 bid the whole time. And they do sell into it a little bit, but then eventually they stack back up to 15. I'm seeing a little bit of pulling when the E-mini moves up. I think the chances of them clearing this 1,000 at 31.5 is really high. But then if that happens, they may, they may buy it back up. Okay. So just like this, now they're going to put 1,000 on it. Okay. Some have bought, but it's still staying offer. That's good. There was a really big absorption at 24.91 there. 14K at one price. Oof. How fast were the ticks and so forth? I gotcha. Yeah. I mean, I don't know, but that's where it's like in that situation though, like it's been at that price forever, you know? And I always just interpreted it as like, for whatever reason, they're not ready to move it. So it goes bid again, but there's a big iceberg there. And I do like what's in the mini, so I'm considering that I might be able to pull this off again. Who acts faster? That's a good question. When it ticks down, it does it faster. But the when it's up, it seems to be there longer. Like it feels to me like there's a guy selling here, and he's waiting for a pullback in the E-mini. And so when the E-mini kind of shows signs of doing a pullback, the robots sell it down. That's kind of what I think is happening. But then there are people, taking advantage of that and using it to buy 31.5. But when it goes down, it does so pretty quickly, but then it sits here at 31.5 forever, right? Like this 13 has been here a lot longer than it was offered for. But when the volume comes, but it's just like a little trickle of volume, not a whole lot happens, and then they sell it down and it stays there for a bit, and there's a bunch of volume, and then they let up and it goes up again. That's been my impression. Okay, just like that, right? All at once. Boom, boom. And I got my tick. I'm happy. I don't know. I mean, so you haven't said anything to me that's like, okay, that doesn't matter, or sure, you know. So I'm assuming that the things that I'm noticing are kind of the sort of thing that you're looking at. But don't you ever find it difficult when it's in a really slow area to really tell which side really has control and be like really certain about it? Yeah, no, I totally get that it's more than just market orders. Yeah, I do get that for sure. I mean, like I pay attention very much to um when they clear it, how many orders did it take to clear it? And how much backflow comes out. Like it took 3,900 to clear it. That's a lot. So in that, this is kind of a little bit of a different case because that was more of an iceberg, but it took a lot to clear it. And then there was a decent amount of backflow, but it still held offer. Like that's really positive action, in my opinion. That is probably a trader holding it at that point. Because what they do is they say, okay, I'm going to sell everything here, and then I'm going to put an offer here, and then the amount that he puts offered happens to be more than what they're willing to buy. Okay. So that kind of makes me a little bit less certain about it. Plus, it is 8:43. I don't know how much I can wait for it. Yeah, order flow is not a science; it is an art. Sure. Well, but so let me back up for a little second. Um, what I find interesting is that you saw that as a clear signal to take a trade that sellers were in control there now and that they were going to sell it down. But what I saw was a slow area that people don't really seem to care about and that you should probably just stay out from, right? So it's, if you're in an area where it's maybe not so obvious, it's interesting to see what you deem a enough of a trigger to take a trade, you know? This to me looks short, but it's a little uncertain. Like I think that somebody is short and that they're trying to get it to go down, and they think that the E-mini is going to take another leg up. That's probably what's happening here. But you never know, like he could give up on that trade really quickly, you know? And then you're stuck holding the bag. It all matters a lot. Speed, size, volume, up and down ticks in the spot. Yeah. I don't know. I didn't really see it. Although I do think, let me go back to your screenshot. Oh no, you did not. You had gotten short there right from the beginning. So I think part of it is that you probably saw something there at 120, 120. I'm wondering if there shows us anything significant enough that we can actually see it on the chart. Not maybe, but not necessarily. There was some liquidity there, and we got through it, and then some liquidity showed up a little bit above us, and there was a pretty strong buy just going up into it. And there was a little bit of a change in the book here. So maybe you saw something at 20 that I didn't see that you caught, and then that made you. So that's when you took the first one. And then you kind of watched it to see, okay, does the way it's ticking make me think that there actually is somebody going short here? And then, okay. Although I guess the other question is like, how big of a trade actually was that? Because if it was, in the thousands, maybe it went down because of you. You just saw a flat place where people weren't interested, and so that ends up being a good place for you to take a position and push it down because there's not going to be very many people to fight you. You know? Maybe. Because I'm just watching this to see if 30 half clears, but there it goes. Yeah. Okay. They may go for lows. I can't sit and wait for it. I should really start posting my notes. I don't know. I think I learned a few things. I wish that I had gotten more out of one of these. Like this one. If this last one had been worth 2 or something, that would have been nice. I don't know. I have to say, I think I get on myself too much because I'm always like, oh, this could have been better and this could have been better, but my trading has been better overall. Maybe in a lot of instances I've just gotten lucky, but I am trading better. I like that I'm noticing spots where I can pull out a tick a bunch of times. It doesn't work when you increase your risk, but it does work just taking that spot over and over and over and over again. And then maybe one time it ticks down with enough force that you just let it go. And you just let that one run. Okay, so a lot of volume now at this particular node. And the E-mini kind of trying to fight this.
Just a heads up as well, just under 10 minutes time we'll get the release of the Kansas City Fed manufacturing activity print for December, looking for reading of 13 against a prior read. Same time as well, we are expecting the Canadian budget balance reading for October. The last time round we saw a deficit reading of 1.36 billion, and year to date last time round saw a deficit reading of 1.21, rather surplus reading of 1.21 billion.
Anyways, I'm going to post these notes here before I get like absorbed into it again. It looks like they could go for the lows though, assuming that the E-mini also reversal here. Well, I mean, like pull back and push higher, assuming that that actually plays out. I think we could go down to lows. And the way that the order flow is going, there's the interest at 30 is more than the interest at 31.5 was. At least there's more iceberging and stuff here, so that is, especially if we see the velocity of things increase, then you could really start to see some. We really could see another little bit of move lower, but I'm not 100% sure. Okay, well, they did clear the 30 half, like I was looking to see. And they've gone here into the 30, but this was kind of a little bit of a volume area. There is the low below us, so they might go for it, but they might need to work it out a little bit here. Overall, there has been a lot of selling in this location, but the E-mini is not recovering yet. They're back to the VWAP now. So we'll see what they do, but it's a hard call. Alright, well, was there any other things? Oh, he posted another link. Okay, so that's a good question.
Geopolitics, EU prolonging officially the economic sanctions. Russia, Ukraine, 6 months until July the 31st.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard. The question, I guess the question is, how do you...
Reminder, just under 3 minutes till we get the Kansas City Fed manufacturing activity in December. Reminder, we're looking for reading on 13.
I'm just gonna turn him off now. How do you differentiate between noise though? You know, like I just guess I need to watch those spots a little bit more closely. So I often kind of just tune out there because I feel like, oh, it's not really going anywhere anymore now. So I don't need to pay attention. But I guess that time now, you have to watch everything, yeah, for sure. That time, I did think that that sellers were in control, and I did kind of explain why, but that was to some extent buttressed by other things that I was seeing. It wasn't just the order flow, right? It was also like I could see why somebody would want to go short there, and I wanted to go short there, and then I saw the signs also that somebody was doing it, that you know they seemed to be taking some shorts there, and they were kind of letting the robots take it down, and they were just kind of waiting for it to do it. And then at that point, it was just kind of like a question of where, and I was not willing to be patient enough for 30 half, so I was, oh well. But maybe if it was earlier in the day, maybe I would have waited. I don't know. That's another thing that I have a hard time with still, is like, it's gone 2 ticks. Is it going to continue or not? You know? This to me at 30 half looks to me more like profit taking more than anything. That's why I'm kind of like, if the E-mini actually turns around, it could go much lower. Oh, okay, so there's an iceberg on the other side too, so I don't exactly know what that means. Except for that the buying has been a little much faster. I mean, it took a while for them to get 4,000, but that 5 and then uptick was a lot. Yeah, okay, there's 1 minute to the news, and I don't want to get sucked in. Anyways, I'm still going to be in chat, but I'm not going to be streaming next week. I'm going to be programming. But, like, if you guys have anything you want to program or to chat or whatever, I'm still going to be around at that time of day. And I will be back on the first day of the year, even though some of the trading then that week is not super great either. But I will be back then. So I will see you guys in a week.